year, down from 4.4% a month ago. Apple is curbing its voracious appetite for acquisitions. It used to buy a company every 3 or 4 weeks, but lately it's a lot pickier. Made only 2 known acquisitions so far this year, after making just 1 in 2021. Walk a mile in someone else's shoes? Maybe not. Shoes have a high ick factor, according to one reseller of used luxury goods. The Wall Street Journal reports more consumers are overcoming the ick factor, buying items like workout gear and even underwear secondhand. Larry Kofsky, Bloomberg Business for KCBS.
Neuropathy can be unbearable. Symptoms include pain, numbness, or tingling in the hands, legs, or feet. Most patients are prescribed dangerous drugs such as gabapentin, Lyrica, Cymbalta, which only mask the pain. They never fix the problem. And the frustration. SFA Wellness, the leader in neuropathy treatments, can successfully help your body to regenerate nerves with no injections, no drugs, and no surgery. SFA Wellness, located in San Ramon, can give you your life back. Call today for your $99 neuropathy and receive a personal treatment plan that is tailored to your needs. Most treatments can be done in the comfort of your home, and SFA Wellness treats patients who live hundreds of miles away. Don't wait. Call now, 844-94-NERVE, and schedule your $99 neuropathy special. Call 844-94-NERVE and start to enjoy life again. That's 844-94-NERVE. Call now. Call 844-94-NERVE and start to enjoy life again.
There's something about that polished green stretching across the 8th hole that whispers, just tell them you're at lunch. Because it's not a hobby, it's a peace of mind. Let CertaPro painters bring the same tones and peace of mind to your home. Our experienced painters are here to make your next painting project as carefree as a day on the green. To get your painting project started, go to CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C.
Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated. License information available at CertaPro.com.
I'm Liam Nathan with KCBS Vision, Occitania.
In the Occitan region of France. And I'm like, the only thing I knew about Occitan was L'Occitan, the soap company. I'm like, well, what is that? And it's in Provence. Well, then I find this ancient linguistic region that encompasses the bit of Catalan, the whole west side of the south of France, up to Bordeaux, including the Perigord, so we love black truffles.
More on Chef Paul's story at Occitania. All the info you need to know at kcbsradio.com and click on Foodie Check.
I'm Danger, a maestro of fear, skilled at scaring you into buying insurance. You've heard my work. It's my job to tell you about the bad.
This scare tactic has been interrupted by AAA Insurance for a special offer. Buy a new AAA auto and/or home insurance policy to enjoy up to $376 in savings and get a $100 gift card with purchase. With savings like that, AAA doesn't need scare tactics. AAA, outsmart life. The gift card offer is valid on qualifying policies in California only. Visit AAA.com/promo for terms.
KCBS News Time, 11:58, and here's Carolyn looking at traffic today.
Looks like it's getting a little bit better in the Santa Cruz Mountains. We had an accident there on 17 southbound. It was near Glenwood Drive involving a couple of cars. It was blocking that left-hand lane. Now, a man and a woman and their dog, they were standing in front of the car, but CHP has been on scene. Looks like they're getting tow trucks there. It looks like they are getting off to the shoulders. There was a minor delay leading to the scene, but right now that has recovered fairly. Looks like traffic is pretty smooth. And in Concord now, northbound 242 before Grant Street, we had a solo vehicle crash. It was partially in the right lane and facing the wrong way. Well, that has been moved out of the lane. Traffic is now zipping past the scene with no problems. Your next traffic update's at 12:08 with the traffic leader, KCBS.
Bay Area weather, mostly sunny tomorrow, except partial clearing at the coast. So we'll have fog at the beaches tomorrow, most likely. 60s at the ocean. 70s around the bay to the mid-80s in the inland valleys. Traffic and weather together on the 8s on All News 106.9 and AM 740 KCBS. It's Monday, August 8th, 2022, and coming up on KCBS with Elisa Clancy.
Megan Goldsby on the desperate effort to find a Tahoe area teen who went missing at a party in Truckee over the weekend.
I'm in a nightmare.
I'm Keith Manconi. Biden's Inflation Reduction Act giving California clean energy advocates plenty of reasons to smile.
I feel much more optimistic.
And the FBI conducted a search and seizure at former President Trump's Palm Beach estate. Those those stories and more coming up. I'm John Evans. This is KCBS AM and KFRC FM and HD1 San Francisco. It's 12 o'clock.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Liberty Mutual Insurance.
I'm Christopher Cruz in Washington. For the first time in American history, FBI agents have entered the home of a former U.S. president in search of classified documents. More from CBS's Natalie Brand.
Sources tell CBS News the FBI executed a search warrant at former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate as part of an investigation into his handling of White House documents. Mr. Trump wasn't at his Florida residence at the time. Video shows him leaving Trump Tower in New York. Officials say it was a run-of-the-mill search. In a statement, his home was under siege and that federal agents broke into his safe.
A big pop music star has died.
She sold more than 100 million records. Olivia Newton-John's string of hits began with a Bob Dylan classic. There would be many others in the 70s and 80s. And she displayed a wide range of vocal talents, songs that rocked and some that didn't. There was also success on the big screen, playing out a version of Grease. Olivia Newton-John battled breast cancer for 30 years. Steve Futterman, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Olivia Newton-John was 73. Teachers and staff are returning to work today at public schools in Uvalde, Texas. Parents are worried about their children's safety. Adam Martinez spoke at a school board meeting Monday night.
I told my son that we're going to have extra cops there, you know? And he said, but who cares about the cops? They're not going to do anything anyway.
That comment a reference to the botched law enforcement response in May during the massacre at Uvalde's Robb Elementary School. Good news for a big airplane manufacturer from the federal government. CBS's Errol Barnett has that.
The FAA says in the coming days, deliveries of Boeing's 787 Dreamliner will resume after the plane maker met all of its certification standards. American Airlines is among U.S. carriers to receive newly ordered aircraft.
The FAA says it will inspect each plane before it's approved for delivery. Taiwan has begun live-fire military drills in response to ongoing Chinese military exercises. China says its drills were prompted by House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's recent visit to Taiwan. The Taiwanese officials say the visit was just a pretext for the drills. They say China's long-term goal is to annex Taiwan, and its drills are in preparation to do just that. Since Thursday, China has been sending military ships and planes across the Taiwan Strait. This is CBS News.
Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance so you only pay for what you need. Visit libertymutual.com to learn more.
Right now you're out here for eBay Motors. So you have to drive 300 miles to your cousin's wedding. Okay, so it's a sport. But you know what they say, fourth time's a charm. Well, here's the problem. The tires are as bald as I am. But lucky for you, eBay Motors has tires for just about every make and model. Plus wheels, lug nuts, jack stands, and more. 122 million parts. Do they have tissues? Oh, good, because I'm different. You try it. Get the right parts at the right prices. eBay Motors. Let's ride.
Oh, are you seeing these readings? This is incredible.
Short-staffed, Marco's climate research facility is in the eye of the storm. The atmospheric pressure to find more weather specialists is mounting.
Man, this is going to be a big job. We're going to need a bigger team.
Indeed can help you hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
You may lose sleep over spiders, but a new study finds they are sleeping just fine.
Some researchers in Germany pointed cameras at baby jumping spiders at night to find out if they sleep. Daniela Rossler and her colleagues say the footage showed patterns that looked a lot like sleep cycles. The spider's legs twitched and part of their eyes flickered. The researchers described it as a REM sleep-like state. Their findings are published in the journal Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. Jennifer Kuiper, CBS News.
The family of Gabby Petito plans to sue police in Utah over what they say is the officer's failure to recognize that Petito was in a life-threatening situation last year when they investigated a fight between her and her boyfriend. The fight happened
sunny, breezy today, plenty of sunshine. Good morning, I'm Elisa Clancy, and here's what's happening at this hour. Family and friends of a missing Tahoe area teenager have raised $50,000 for information leading to her safe return. KCBS's Megan Goldsby has the story.
16-year-old Kylie Rodney's family is putting up the money, part of a grassroots effort that includes a GoFundMe, teens walking flyers around the neighborhood, and search parties organized by her friends, like Sammy Smith, who was the last person known to have contact with Rodney at a large tea party in Truckee early Saturday morning.
I just want to do anything I can to find her, and so do all of us.
Investigators say she may have been kidnapped. Anna Larson is a close family friend.
Highway 80, and we're right by Reno, and this is a traffic stop. This area, Highway 80. You know, there's documentaries about it. We're terrified about it. She will fight for herself and her rights and her safety. I can see her fighting in this moment, and she's not afraid to speak to anybody. She's very caring. She's very open. She will trust somebody just for moments, just meeting them, and she's so loving.
The law enforcement presence has been immense, but there is one thing volunteers say they still need. That would be an Amber Alert. Larson says they've been told the case does not meet the criteria.
And all I know is it hasn't happened yet, and you know, days have gone by now.
Megan Goldsby, KCBS.
And a Tracy man was arraigned yesterday on charges of killing Kalila Winford, a 19-year-old woman from Alameda, late last month. 19-year-old Donovan Sanders was arrested Friday at his home following the July 31st shooting in Alameda. Court records say that surveillance footage from the victim's home showed Sanders walking to her house. Officers told the court that cell phone records showed that he was talking to her on his phone shortly before he shot her. Police say that when they responded to the call from Winford's mother, they found that Winford had been shot in the head and took her to the hospital where she died 2 days later. Sanders is scheduled to be in court again for a plea on August. He is being held without bail in Santa Rita Jail. And climate advocates are celebrating following the Senate's passage of President Biden's Inflation Reduction Act. KCBS's Keith Minconi spoke with one of them about the measure and what it could mean for California.
The sweeping legislation includes hundreds of billions of dollars of investments into climate programs, including tax incentives aimed at boosting the growth of the green energy sector. For Laura Dean, State Director of the Environment California Advocacy,
adoption and investment and confidence.
including here in California, where Dean hopes the measure will help spur on projects like coastal wind farms and Central Valley solar arrays. The bill still needs to pass the House, but already, says Dean,
I just feel much more optimistic that a 100% renewable energy future is really close at hand for California.
Keith Manconi, KCBS.
And just ahead on KCBS.
I'm Jeffrey Schaub. Efforts are underway to exonerate 50 black soldiers who were court-martialed and imprisoned during World War II, and it happened in the Bay Area.
KCBS News Time 12:08, and we say good morning to Carolyn Burns.
And good morning to you in the Santa Cruz Mountains on Highway 17 southbound near Glenwood Drive. Two-car crash in the left lane has been moved off to the right-hand shoulder. It's clearing stages, so right now it looks like traffic is moving at a pretty good pace past the scene. Still in Concord, northbound 242 before Grant Street, we had a solo vehicle crash, and now there are reports there might be a second vehicle that was involved. Anyway, it was partially in that right lane, one of those cars facing the wrong way. Now that has been moved out of the lanes. It looks like traffic is cruising past the scene there. Also, there's a high wind advisory now in effect in Tracy across 205 and onto 580 across the Altamont Pass. Your next traffic update is at 12:18 on the traffic leader, KCBS.
Thank you, Carolyn. Mostly clear, breezy, and mild this morning, except for that fog along the coast. It is August after all. Lows in the 50s and 60s. Sunny and breezy today after morning overcast with some partial clearing at the coast. You'll get some sunny breaks, I think. Highs from the 60s at the ocean, 70s around the bay, to the mid-80s inland. Traffic and weather together on the 8s on News 106.9 and AM 740 KCBS.
Today on Hey Culligan, better water that cares. Jane's on the line.
Hey Culligan, how can I avoid
the equivalent of 15 billion single-use plastic bottles a year. So you see, Culligan cares about sea turtles too.
Aw, plastic pollutes and Culligan cures.
That's catchy, Jane, and totally true.
I'll take it, like now.
Jane, we're already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test with a local Culligan water expert at Culligan.com.
My doctor told me my blood pressure is borderline. I figured I could worry about it or do something about it. So I took control with Garlic Healthy Blood Formula. It works safely and naturally to help maintain healthy blood pressure with a custom blend of garlic, vitamins, and minerals. And it's odor-free. I'm taking charge with Garlic Healthy Blood Pressure Formula.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. The term natural references only the garlic in the product. Use as directed.
KCBS News Time 12:11. Two members of Congress from the East Bay have renewed legislation that would formally exonerate 50 black soldiers who were court-martialed and imprisoned during World War II. KCBS's Jeffrey Schaub has the story.
On the evening of July 17, 1944, a major explosion occurred at what was then the Port Chicago Naval Magazine in Concord. The blast could be heard as far away as Nevada. Of the 320 who died, 202 were black. East Bay Congressman Mark DeSaulnier says following the explosion,
The white enlisted folks and the white officers are given a month off. They were not. 2 weeks later, they had been transferred over to Vallejo, where similar work was
50 black soldiers decided to strike. They were not trained properly, they said, and feared another explosion. Found guilty of mutiny, the so-called Port Chicago 50 spent 18 months in prison. DeSaulnier wants Congress to vote to exonerate them.
You know, a great nation should be able to accept the fact that we make mistakes.
This is the third attempt to get the Port Chicago 50 legislation pushed through the House and Senate. It could fail again. DeSaulnier says some senators fear it would lead to reparations for black Navy men. Jeffrey Schaub, KCBS.
And the weather continues to challenge 3,200 firefighters in far northern California. The McKinley fire is now 40% contained, having burned more than 60,000 acres. Meanwhile, KCBS's Holly Kwan has more on one of the fire victims, identified as a legend in the firefighting service.
73-year-old Kathy Shootman was one of the 4 people who died in the McKinney fire. She was what the Forest Service calls a lookout, a person in the crow's nest, so to speak, whose job it is to look for fires. She lived 4 miles from her perch at Buckhorn Lookout in the Klamath National Forest. A thunderstorm hit in the area on July 29th. The winds accelerated to 75 miles an hour, and there was no time for Shootman or 3 other residents of the community of Klamath River to get out safely. Tom Stokesbury is the U.S. Forest Service spokesman for Northern California and says it is hitting the forestry and firefighting community hard.
Basically, we find some of the highest peaks, and we build these towers. The towers are somewhere between 50 and 100 feet tall. And our lookouts go up in there, and they watch 360 degrees. So that when they see a smoke, they use their tools and devices to determine the lat long and where that smoke is, and they call in, and then our firefighters respond. And Kathy was a legend in doing that. The voice she had over the radio, and we've had several firefighters tell us, when they heard her call in the lat long, they knew it was going to be spot on, and she was just that good at her job.
It's not an easy thing. You have to be good at maps, not mistake a cloud of rain or mist for smoke. Shootman had been a lookout since 1974, won Lookout of the Year in 2015. She would have been 74 in November. Holly Kwan, KCBS.
And a dangerous wildfire burning in a remote just south of the Oregon border appears to have caused the deaths of tens of thousands of Klamath River fish. And we get that story from KCBS's Jim Taylor.
Dead fish of all species floating in the Klamath near Happy Camp, California, but of particular concern, the salmon. The salmon revered by the Karuk tribe and the Yurok tribe. That's California's second largest Native American tribe. Biologists with the tribes do believe a flash flood caused by heavy rains over a burn area caused the flow that entered the river. Graphic photos from the area do show thousands of dead fish floating on a slow-moving Klamath, choked with fire and flood debris. And after years of negotiations, 4 dams on the lower river that impede the migration of